Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Samurai Goddess. The goddess next door takes on kung fu killers in this action-packed martial arts Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Samurai Goddess in paperback and e-readers today. President Donald Trump recently had a sit-down with the presidents of numerous historically black colleges and universities. And what this was for the black communities and the black communities' leaders was a big black eye. Why was it a big black eye? Because you would think with a black president who just left the White House after 8 years of service that this would have been a priority for him. But he did not make any efforts to ever try to deal with this issue, even though this issue of the struggles of historically black colleges and universities had been announced almost 8 years ago. Barack Obama, in his 2 terms of office, clearly could have done something about this, but he just didn't make an effort at all. And that's what makes it embarrassing for the black community. You had a black president who had political power. You had a black first lady who had political power. They had clout and influence to get the donations to help these historically black colleges and universities, yet these 2 individuals did absolutely nothing to help these institutions. It takes a white man to come in and say that he's going to help black colleges and universities for something to get done. And that, again, is a black eye on the entire black community. Moreover, it's an even bigger black eye on the entire black community when you consider the $3.3 trillion that flows throughout the black community, and especially flows throughout the black entertainment community. Here we have billionaire entertainers such as Dr. Dre and multimillionaire entertainers such as Jay-Z and Beyonce who make hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And they could have helped out get these colleges up to speed. They could have helped these colleges get themselves together. You would think that these individuals would be so concerned about education in the black community. And that's not the case at all. These wealthy entertainers, for the most part, like your Dr. Dre, would rather spend money at donating it to a white college than supporting a black college. And your other entertainers, like your Jay-Z and your Beyonce, they're too busy exploiting the black community to think about helping the institutions in the black community that pretty much educate African Americans and help preserve the history and the legacy of African Americans. No, they're too busy making money off the black community to think about educating the black community. And it takes, again, a white man to come in and have this meeting that Barack Obama should have had 8 years ago. And it's a shame that all these black entertainers, from Denzel Washington to Will Smith to Samuel L. Jackson to many, many others, never thought to rally behind these historically black colleges and universities and try to raise funds to help them in the same way that Bill Cosby went to go help these historically black colleges and universities. He, throughout his history and his legacy, went out to help these black colleges and universities, donating money, giving people full scholarships, and trying to support black people getting an education. Yet the next generation has not made that effort to preserve our black colleges and universities. When we look at our black colleges and universities these days, many of them are in shambles, many of them are in a state of disrepair, and this is all due to the culture of anti-intellectualism that has gone on for the last, I'd say, 25, 30 years with the advent of this thug culture and this gangster rap. Because African Americans do not value education. They believe education is a white trait because they have been brainwashed by white liberals and in Hollywood and Madison Avenue to believe that being intelligent is white and being ignorant is black. And that really kept many of these African Americans from going to historically black colleges and universities to learn about their history and their heritage. Moreover, many of these Afro-American Negroes are so spellbound by the idea of the white man's ice being colder, they didn't want to go to a historically black college and a university to get the educational experience there. No, they thought going to a white college would be better. Moreover, many of our athletes thought going to a white college would be better because they wanted to go and get drafted into the NFL. Again, not valuing our own institutions, but then wondering why our institutions are in a sad state of affairs. And then what's really sad about it is because we didn't make an effort to protect our educational institutions in our community, they are in the sad state of affairs that they're in right now. And it's really embarrassing with all of these black people who have all this prominence, all this influence, all this wealth, and all this money that none of them wanted to make an effort to protect and preserve these historically black colleges and universities. In fact, it wasn't even a priority for many years until Donald Trump decided to come out and speak about it. And it's sad that Donald Trump is more aware of what's going on and what needs to be done in the black community than many of our black leaders like Al Sharpton, Louis Farrakhan, and many others in the black community. It's really embarrassing to say that this man, who everybody is calling a racist and a white supremacist, and may possibly be, is more aware of what needs to be done with our academic institutions than many of our black leaders and many of our black politicians who pretty much, again, sat on their hands for 8 straight years and did not make a single effort to protect or preserve these institutions. These were the institutions, again, that laid the foundation for many in the civil rights movement. These were the institutions that laid the foundation for the black economy. And these were the institutions that pretty much laid the foundation for the black family. But the African American community pretty much showed how little value that black colleges and universities have to the black community by ignoring them, not supporting them, and not doing anything to help them. But this is par for the course when it comes down to your black community, because your black community is more interested in social currency more than social change. It is more interested in getting Air Jordan tennis shoes than it is getting an education that will help take them to the next level. And that's really, again, that's really sad when you think about how this African American community has declined over the last 50 years. Because the 50 years prior, education was considered a cornerstone of black culture. This was something I learned, from my recent trip to North Carolina, how education was considered one of the cornerstones of the black culture and the black experience. Black people valued education extremely highly, and they made it a priority to educate their children and to give their children the highest quality education. But over the last 50 years, since the welfare state took over the black community, we have seen a lack of interest in education and a culture of anti-intellectualism, permeate throughout the black community. And because we have this culture of anti-intellectualism in the black community, we don't see a value in education, and we don't see the value of educating ourselves. And that's a sad thing, because if we don't value educating ourselves, guess what? Somebody else is going to teach you. And when somebody else teaches you your history and your culture, guess what? You're going to get that story from their narrative. And when people like Donald Trump have to come and save your institutions, guess what? It's going to come at a cost to you Negroes. Why? Because these people who are bailing you out with those government monies, they're going to attach strings to that money. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to say that they want their type of education taught in these institutions, education that fits their narrative. You could have avoided all this by taking care of your own institutions, because this was the job of black people. It was our job to go out here and protect our educational institutions. It was our job to protect our schools, and it was our job to take care of business. But no, many of these Afro-American Negroes and black folks out here pretty much wanted social currency above all else. Black people value standing in line for a pair of Air Jordan tennis shoes all night long more so than going out here and trying to apply to go to one of these historically black colleges and universities. Because if we had valued our own institutions like we were to value our own, like those sneakers, we would have some of the most intelligent people in our community. But we don't have intelligent people in our community, because we can look at the culture of the black community and how anti-intellectual it is and see how little value black people have for education. And again, it's a shame that Donald Trump has to come in and have a meeting with the presidents of these colleges when it should have been the job of all those people such as Barack Obama, your Michelle Obama, your Jay-Z's, your Beyonce's, your Michael Jordans, your Will Smiths, your Denzel Washingtons, and many others in black Hollywood and the black entertainment industry, and all these black politicians, these black fraternities and sororities, these pro-blacks, these hoteps. All these people should have been making this a priority, but because they are so spellbound by the white man's ice being colder, it takes Donald Trump to come in to make them take their own educational institutions seriously. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.